Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching our video today. I am Maria, and today I am joined by Sam, one of my really good friends. And we just wanted to collaborate because we always have these really spiritual, deep conversations, and we want to share them with you. So today, we're going to be talking about the belief that we have to be fully healed in order to receive certain things in life. Sam, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, my name is Sam. I do tarot readings, and I am currently trying to work on just growing my community and also growing my mindset. And I'm excited to have this discussion with Mo because we get going and then we get on like a high when we start having these conversations.
Time doesn't exist when we're talking.
No, then you know it's been like 3.5 hours and we should both go to bed at that point.
Exactly. But yeah, check her out. What are your socials? What is your handle for Instagram?
Oh, I'm really bad at this. It's Samalama, but I think it's spelled with 2 A's. Hold on. Yeah, Samalama, but it's 2 A's in Lama, 08.
I love it. Check her out. And yeah, she's a brilliant tarot reader, super intuitive, so definitely highly recommend. Okay, let's start talking about this topic. How about we start with just sharing our experiences with this belief about having to be fully healed in order to experience certain things in life.
Yeah. I definitely think, especially when you're healing from certain patterns that you deal with in relationships, a lot of the times you feel like you have to leave those patterns behind when you're single. At least for me personally, I've always had that belief where I can't get into another relationship until I can fully be this way on my own or fully create this for myself first on my own. When realizing that by doing that, I'm blocking the whole experience of creating that with somebody, which is what is going to help me heal that belief.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because it touches on like the, when we talk about like attachments, it's almost that like avoidant of, but like that's like how our anxious and avoidant attachment styles almost like show up very similarly. But that's a really good point. I have very similar experiences when it comes to relationships, and also like starting my business was a really big one. Like I had these thoughts where I had to have a certain amount of followers or a certain demographic or a certain niche that I had to have before I could be considered a business owner or an intuitive reader or a writer. And I had these like expectations that were super false. And I wasn't allowing myself to receive recognition or even energy from other people for that work because I didn't feel worthy of receiving it. And it was a process. And I think a lot of people, when they're first starting out in anything, kind of have that limited belief or those false expectations because society's told us like that we have to work in order to get into a certain status, I guess. And like when we think about school, it's to get a career, and when you get a career you have to get promotions, and like, but you're always having to work for that instead of just being
100%. Yeah,
I even thought even like when another form of this in like the spiritual community is like when we're told or when we're being taught about how to be in vibrational alignment with the things that we desire, almost saying that like you have to heal yourself in order to receive this thing that you want.
Yeah, that's so true. Or you have to be happy to this certain amount for this amount of time or you're not going to get it.
Right? Or like you have to have positive thoughts. So it shows up in the spiritual realm also. And I think it's tricky because the message really is not that you have to do anything to the message is kind of construed. You don't have to do anything in order to receive it. It's a matter of being like surrendering to the beingness that you are in that present moment.
Yeah, accepting and honoring yourself for what you feel and are experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not external from the moment that you're in. So like when we talk about like being vibrationally aligned to the things that we desire, it's literally embodying yourself in that moment. Like that's literally it. You don't have to change. It's just I don't know, like a state of being, a state of acceptance.
It's an interesting topic.
I was thinking about that the other day, how that shows up in, because it portrays this like false narrative, right? That even in spirituality, you naturally like when you start to want to progress and like have those personal development routines and all these things, like you naturally start to shift your vibrational baseline. But you know, we're all just as worthy as receiving the exact same things as everybody else. So it's interesting. I always question that one where you have to.
I find that's like a major theme when I think about the relationships that I want with people. I'm like, oh, I have to like get to this certain point within myself before I can like manifest the right person for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait a second.
I relate so hard.
Or like I need to learn or be able to do this or express myself in this way before I can manifest that person. And that's why they're not here. When reality, it's just the timing of it. It's being able to trust that the universe will bring it in at exactly what point you're ready for it. And there's no, not even necessarily being ready for it, but being ready to receive it. Because if you're not in a place to receive it and they bring it to you, you're just going to be like, nah, like, bye, I'm good, you know?
Yeah. And then that brings back to knowing that you're worthy in the present moment. Like you don't have to fix yourself in order to be receptive to that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fully accepting who you are and then fully loving every aspect of yourself that allows you to be receptive.
Yeah, and almost loving the journey of it, loving the moments of not exactly being there yet, but enjoying the in-between parts and all the energy that comes with it.
That's so true. So
I'm trying to incorporate that into my life because I find it so easy to get caught up in where you are now versus like where you envision yourself being and missing the whole in-between part, which is supposed to be the whole fun of it, you know?
It is fun. I want to go back to something you said. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly it was. I don't remember. I'll let you know if I do. But definitely like it's that feminine aspect of being able to receive. So knowing that regardless of where you are where you're at personally in your journey and what that looks like, the state of vibrational alignment to whatever it is that you want is your beingness, is the connection that you have to yourself. And that's the vibration of alignment, I guess you could say. And also receptivity, knowing that you're worthy regardless. I think that's how we see so many people right now, specifically at this time, like becoming so successful in their own endeavors, is because they've made that conscious choice for themselves that no matter what happens, they're worthy of receiving and they're worthy of that success. And it's almost been like a conscious shift in the collective where it's like we're just starting to choose, like, screw it, I'm worthy, here we go.
Yeah, I remember that one time when we were having one of our late night discussions, we were talking about productivity and how you struggle to, or how I was struggling to separate productivity from being worthy. for the things that I desired, that it was okay to not be on go mode all of the time, and that I would still receive the things that I wanted. It doesn't mean that I'm not receiving it just because I'm not physically working towards it, or what I think is physically working towards it 24/7.
Yeah.
It was a big one. I remember, a big topic for us.
I love that. That's so true. I think that's the biggest part though, is like we forget our worthiness. Like we come into this life and like our memory of our own worthiness like dissolves, because we're constantly told that we have to work really hard in order to receive something, which is like a very wounded masculine approach to life.
Mhm.
But like I was totally there, and we forget that even being fully healed, like even that in and of itself is an illusion.
Yeah, that's not real
Is
at
is
all.
like totally false.
Yeah, I remember like when I first started, getting into spirituality and learning and going through all these things, that was my mindset. It was like, okay, there's this version of me, she's out there and she is fully healed. And I was chasing it for so long. And then I realized, oh, like, which is a beautiful thing, because the process of healing, I feel like, is also so beautiful, because you're continuously learning about yourself, and your perspective is growing, and how you feel about other people is growing, and it grows with love. All of a sudden the negativity starts to slowly fade away for people, because you can understand the greater picture of what they're experiencing. So I find that super interesting, that as you are growing in spirituality, how much your perspective changes about ego, about healing, about meditation, manifestation. It doesn't stop.
Mhm.
It does not stop.
No, it's an expansion. I was pulling cards this morning, and it was an oracle deck. And one of the lines in the message that really stood out to me was like, "You are a mirror of the universe." And I was like, holy smokes, because it's literally just a continuous expansion. And I was writing something yesterday. Anyway, we feel quite like we get into this body and we feel like it limits us, and our soul feels very limited, and we just take on the lifestyle that we see every other human being living, when in reality, like our consciousness can also be our greatest tool in the expansion of our being. And back to what you were saying, it's just like it keeps going and going and going, and there's always more to it. And I remember hearing that, oh my gosh, I remember when I first started doing like self-development and meditation and like inner child healing and all these like all the shadow work, everything. And I remember somebody told me like, oh, it never ends. And I was triggered AF.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, what do you what do you mean?
I'm just trying to get to the finish line. Like, I don't know where you're at, but
like, but it was so humbling, because it was the first time in my life where I was like, wow, like I'm successful now in what I'm doing. I don't have to reach a certain point in order to be seen as successful in my personal development. And yeah, there was another thought there, but it slipped away, so obviously wasn't meant to be.
I just had a thought about how when I first started wanting to do tarot readings, and I was like getting into tarot, I was like, okay, but I can't tell anybody that I'm doing tarot until I'm fully healed, until I'm fully awake, and then I can do it. And I remember for so long, like not being able to share that I was interested in it, or not being able to accept that it was something that I wanted to do for other people in that moment, because I just genuinely didn't think I was going to be ready. And then I had that moment of epiphany where I was like, well, like if I'm not ready now, then like I'm never going to be ready. So like
it's the eternal moment. There's so many things that we could like bring this topic towards.
Right.
Yeah, but specifically I think it's so common when we're starting something new or trying to manifest something, that feeling of like, oh, I have to be at a certain point in my journey or feel a certain way or have certain things. Like even when we talk about money, right? Like it becomes really tricky because how we think about money is that it's finite, when energetically speaking, it's like infinite. There's an infinite amount of money and we're not taking from anybody. So like when we have this approach to money where it's like, well, I have to have this much money in order for me to do this, it can limit us sometimes. Don't get me wrong, like financial literacy is important, and like it's important to have a relationship with money, although sometimes it can be quite limiting in manifestation if we're blocking our own manifestation by saying that we actually can't, or we lack the funds in order to do it.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that, because my relationship to money has been definitely been changing a lot recently. It's coming more from an energetic place instead of more physical. It's like I'll choose to do something and like not worry about the money with it, and just trust that like when the time comes that I need the money, it'll be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. It's very like it's interesting because money is something like that we really struggle being receptive to. Like we want it so bad, but actually receiving it is like a really difficult thing to do.
And the guilt, I think there's a lot of guilt built around having wealth or wanting it too.
Yeah.
Of the things that have happened in society with people that do have wealth.
Yeah. It for sure. And like that can go back to this, like the foundation of this topic of like, in order for us to receive money, we have to be good at this and this, or I have to get a master's degree, or some sort of expectation that we've placed on ourselves that restricts and resists that manifestation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting.
Do you have anything else you want to say, Sam?
I don't think so. Although I would love to do this again, because I feel like we could chat for hours.
We could have like a whole like podcast.
I was just supposed to say we could do a podcast. That would be so fun.
Okay, we'll talk. For those watching, stay connected with us. Follow us on Instagram. Mine is @MariaB. You can also find my contact information on my website, mariab.com. I am still offering intuitive readings. I'm also opening up a couple spots for my mentoringship in April, mentorship program. So yeah, keep in touch. Also find Sam. What was your social info, your handle?
Oh, it's at Samalama08. Lama with 2 A's.
You'll find her. She's the beauty with the tarot cards.
Yeah, I'm also going to be doing more readings. So if anyone is interested, make sure to shoot me a message.
Cool. Y'all do that. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yes.
And thank you, Sam. All right. Well, we will talk to you soon, and sending so much love.
Bye.
Bye.